Alpha. Today is episode 71, and we have a very special guest today with us. His name is Jennings Smith. His bio is very impressive, so I'm going to read it through, and you will find out why is it so impressive. This man has a lot of experience in real estate field, so if you're interested into learning about real estate today, this is the show for you. So Jennings has been a real estate investor since 2013 and brings over 15 years of residential and commercial construction experience to the team. He builds his company, Reality Construction, and he's 19 years old while attending Clemson University. After 15 years and over $100 million of custom home development, he sold his company to Alair Homes and purchased the South Carolina and North Carolina Master Territory franchise until selling in 2019. So his years of project management experience has helped him build a substantial multifamily real estate portfolio throughout stabilizing value-add acquisitions. Jennings still holds his South Carolina residential builder's license, keeping his finger on a pulse of construction and project management. So, I mean, the bio is impressive, a lot of years of experience in real estate building, construction, investing, and just happy to have you on the show today, Jennings. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, Martinez. Appreciate the invitation.
Awesome. It's always good to connect, with the like-minded people. And again, for the people who would love to get involved into the show, into the real estate, I would like to, if you just share your story, because everybody has, great story to share, maybe rough beginnings. I don't know what your story is. Of course, we're going to hear it in a second, but just for people to see that, you can always start something, and real estate is definitely a great business to have. But if you just share your experience of how did you get involved at a young age in real estate, and like what happened at that point for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Humble beginnings, I think, are where we all start, and mine is no different. My first property was in the trailer park. So my dad, he paved the way by buying some rental homes. He really had little to no net worth, well into his 40s, and decided that he was going to go with rentals. And I saw him very quickly build and get about 15 rentals and get them paid off and kind of build his retirement that way. And he told me, Jennings, this is the way to go. You got to get some property and do this the way I did it. And if you start now, you'll be a lot better off than I am. And so that kind of motivated me. And my roommate in college, his father owned a really nice mobile home park. And so when I graduated and I was working construction and, making okay money, but you're working so hard running a construction company and you're not really building a whole lot of equity or assets there. And so I talked to this guy who was my roommate's father, and he said, hey, a good way to start is buy an old broken down mobile home in a park. Most of the time they'll sell it to you cheap. Like the park owners will sell it to you cheap because they just want the lot rent as a park. This may be a home they repossessed and sell it owner financed. You can do really well, and then you don't have to be a landlord. You can just collect the payment. So I went park to park to park, got relationships going with these park managers, and found a double wide, didn't have any AC, got it for $5,000, which was a lot of money to me at the time. And I put another $5,000 into remodeling it. I did it all myself, new floors, heating and air and all that stuff. And I sold it. And within 3 months, the people had stopped paying me and they had completely trashed the building and had abandoned it. And so I walked into a complete mess, and I had to spend another $5,000 or $6,000 on fixing it up again. And at that point, I almost quit. Like I just sold it cheap. It was so much heartache. I didn't want to deal with it anymore. But after that sting subsided, I realized, okay, I made some mistakes there. And if I learn from them, I don't have to make those same mistakes again. And so instead of just stopping, I bought another one. And this one was less work. It had a renter in place, and I got paid $700 a month. And then I bought another one, sold that owner finance, and I did it again and did it again. And then I bought some single family homes, 3-bedroom, 2-bath homes. And I had about 7 properties there, and it was going okay, but that's when I set my mind on, I want to get 1,000 doors. I want to go big with this. I want to replace my income. I don't want to do construction for the rest of my life. How do I go about that? And so that's where I shifted my focus from single family and trailers to multifamily. I thought because I talked to bankers, I talked to certain advisors, like, what would it look like to have 1,000 rental homes? And pretty much you would be radioactive to lenders, and they just didn't think it was a great idea. It's not super scalable. It's a lot of work. It's hard to sell off a portfolio that big. The financing isn't as convenient. So that's what shifted me into multifamily. And so I started with that.
Okay, so again, as I told the audience, everybody has their own kind of beginnings, and beginnings maybe most of the time they don't look very, nice. Again, most of the time people have kind of bad experience, the one that you had with the first mobile home, but you just continue. You was like, okay, it's a lesson learned, just, move on from there. And it didn't cost you a lot at the time. Like you said, it was like $5,000, right? First investment. So
$5,000 to buy, $5,000 to fix. So 10,000. And I think, most people, you can save up $10,000, or you can find somebody that has $10,000 to partner with you 50-50 or whatever. Like,
yeah,
that's where a lot of people stop. Like, they don't have the money, or they don't have the deal flow, or they don't have the time, and really they don't have the resourcefulness
mm-hmm.
or the courage. It doesn't take money to make money. It takes courage to make money. You have to go out and ask, and you have to find, and you have to be persistent. That's really what it takes. Money makes it easier, and you'll get there, but when you're starting, all you need is courage and determination, persistence.
That is so true. I'm glad that you said that. So talking about construction, so residential and commercial construction for 15 years. So since you moved from mobile homes and started doing the construction, so how much of a focus did you put in towards residential and commercial properties? Was it more commercial, or was it more residential?
More residential, occasional commercial deal, but I was focused on new construction back in 2001, 2002. That's when I got my license. And then in 2008 to 10, I kind of shifted to renovations because of the market crashing, and there really wasn't much new construction going on. Really, it was hard. I was going door to door, asking if people needed their windows replaced, or even installing like peep sites, like those little things you put in your front door to see who's there. I would work all day, and then 5 o'clock, I would go to Home Depot, pick them up for $5 a piece, and I would go and knock door to door with a drill and a peep site. Say, hey, I'll install this for $20 right now. And I would make an extra $100 a day. And in 2009 and 10, like, I needed $100. Like, it's as crazy as it sounds, it was super humbling. And I definitely don't want to repeat that, but you do what it takes. And I needed $100 to pay my mortgage. I needed it. And yeah, it was a way to make a little bit extra cash every day.
Wow, that's very impressive. And that was at the time when you were still going to the university, or that was after?
That was after college. I had graduated, and I had gotten married. I had bought a historic home in my town, and I was remodeling it. It wasn't going well. I owed the IRS back taxes. I owed $20,000 on default credit cards. And I had a rental home and a mortgage to pay at the same time, because I was stretching, because the economy had been good and my construction company had been doing very well. And so, I learned a lot of lessons through that, where I always thought, hey, my income is going to just keep on going straight up. And I really hadn't prepared for an event like that in any way. But I made it through. That I didn't have to lay my employees off. We made it through. We started making money again. It was really only about a year and a half that was really dark there. But came through on the other side and continued to renovate, and realized that this business was really just enslaving me. Like, I didn't have any free time. And that's where I started with the trailers. And I also started with Alair Homes, which is a custom home franchise. and they approached me, asked if I wanted to partner with them, and awarded me the first franchise in South Carolina as well as the master territory. And they brought processes, systems, scale, sophistication, marketing, management, and allowed me over the course of 2 years to convert my construction company into something that was a real business that could be rolled up and sold. And so I then sold that to my one of my employees, who then took it on to and became very successful with it. And I moved into the master territory. The master territory I eventually sold out to my partner because my heart, it really is multifamily. Like I love real estate investing. I'm good at it. And I'd been doing construction since I was 19. I was ready for a change.
Yeah. So I have a couple of questions. First of all, advice for people who are still going to university, college, and because I mean, you were 19 in the college. I mean, there's a lot of distractions probably at the point, but you still got focused on a business and you kept building the business. So, and maybe, there's less, or maybe there's more actually distractions while the kids are studying from home right now. But what will be advice for that 19-year-old who is watching right now with all these distractions, the COVIDs, financial problems, girlfriends, whatever that might be? Like, how do you get focused, if that's the thing that the person wants to follow to build a real estate company?
So that's a good question. I mostly did work during the summer. I did eventually, by the time I was a junior, senior in college, my company was building year round. Through employees and all. Can't say very well, but we were, because I was 4 hours away up at Clemson. We were building down in Charleston area. But, I don't know if you can teach that. It's like, I was focused. I was hungry. I was driven. I did not want to be average. I did not want to just float along and graduate and get a, mediocre job. Like, I knew I wanted to work for myself. I knew I wanted to do my own thing. And so if you don't have that desire, because there's all types of different people, some people may not, but if you have that desire, I think it's important to begin as you mean to go, and to think further down the road of like, what am I building? What am I trying to accomplish here? What am I doing? And I think the best way to do that is to read. Every time I read, I get fired up. I get new ideas. And reading allows you to collapse time, where you can take life experiences of maybe 30 years of the author. He's condensing it into a few hundred pages and allowing you to leverage that. And that's, I think, is a good way to remain focused and stay focused, because even driven individuals like us and your listeners, you go through lulls, and I think that's some of the things to keep yourself on track, is to always have your head in the next good book. Like, when you stop reading, which we tend to do, that's when I think you can get a month, 2 months can slip by, and you're not working towards your goal. You're not achieving anything. You're just kind of existing, floating along, which is really dangerous. That's how you make major mistakes, is not knowing where you're going and keeping your eye on that prize, staying focused on that.
That's a very solid advice. Thanks for sharing that. I think a lot of people are going to take and use that, I hope. And the second question that I had is, how did you create that situation where you got approached by Alair Homes and they said, listen, we want to partner with you? Like, can you talk about that process a little bit?
Sure. I think having a growth mindset, I learned a lot from Alair. Alair was a great company, great culture, and still is. But even before they approached me, I had some of that growth mindset, because, imagine this: you're a builder, and this company says, hey, we want you to rebrand your company. We want you to pay us a franchise fee. We want you to pay us a royalty, and you're going to stop being what you were built, or what company you built your whole life. So most contractors, right? I mean, they don't present it that way, but right there, they're going to just say, hell no, you're crazy. I'm not listening to you. Like, no. And which was kind of my initial response too, I admit, but I heard them out. I was willing to listen. And as they unpacked and I learned about what this opportunity could be, and saw that the business I had built was essentially worthless, and that this was a way to really achieve what I wanted to do. This was a way to exit my construction company, to sell it at a profit. This was a way to get my freedom back, to implement project managers and systems and processes so that I could go on vacation or have a weekend off every once in a while. And I would say that the reason I got offered the opportunity with Alair Homes was because of that open growth mindset. And that has served me well, because I dove into their training and that culture, which further expanded my mind. And that opened me up to, buying my first real estate course, which was Michael Blank, Ultimate Apartment Buying Guide. I bought it for $1,000. That was the first thing I'd ever bought online, that was like an educational thing. And I would say there's probably a large swath of your listeners right now that are out there that think that stuff is a scam, that, oh, you don't buy these guru courses and blah, blah, blah. And I mean, sure, some of it maybe isn't, but why are you not investing in yourself? You're willing to pay $100,000 to go to college, and you're not going to pay $1,000 for like specific knowledge about what you actually want to do. And so I think Alair opened my mind up to buy that course. And then that course allowed me to buy my first 12 unit. And that made me want to listen to Tim Brott's. Tim Brott's event is $5,000. And I got to fly to, Ohio for a couple of days. And that blew my mind open completely. And then I went from 17 units to 192 units in 8 months by going to Tim Brott's course and willing to spend $5,000 to do so. And then I joined Mark Evans' Dealmaker Family Mastermind, which is $35,000 a year, which if you had asked me that a year ago, 2 years ago, I've been like, you are insane. Why in the hell would anyone join a mastermind? That's the stupidest idea I've ever heard. And yet, here I am in the Dealmaker family, making connections with other multimillionaires, generating ideas, generating value. I'm going to an event now. I mean, that event, I've made 2 to 3 times as much in the year I've been in the Dealmaker family than the year prior. And some of that's coincidental, but some of it's definitely not. And so I think that growth mindset of being open to ideas and listening to people that know you don't know everything. Like what you know got you to where you are and got you the results that you have. And your results probably are not that impressive. And so if you want to get more impressive results, you better start listening to different people than just yourself or the peer group you've been listening to.
Yeah, my God, that is the key. That is the key in every business. What you just said, it's such a powerful message to the people, because we get in the positions, particularly when we are as a business people, or somebody starting out is like, no, I know, and you get stuck in that, oh, I know it's my thing. I know everything about it. But there's people who accomplish so much more. So be willing to be, just learning from other people, So that's the key in every business. So talking about your real estate portfolio, again, multifamily, can you talk about how big is the current portfolio that you have, and what strategy have you used to acquire these properties?
So yeah, our model is essentially the BRRRR model, which if you don't know, I know you know, but buy, renovate, refinance, and then repeat and hold it long term. So our model is find something distressed, value add, 65 cents on the dollar, and we'll raise all in 65 cents on the dollar. Or we can budget a little bit if it's a good area, go up to 70%. But what we're trying to do is, including renovation and capital from our investors, refinance within 2 years and pull that money back out with a little bit more to spare and give it back to the investors. So, the easiest way is like $100,000 house neighborhood. You buy the house for 50 grand, you put 15 grand into it. So you're in it for 65 grand. The bank says, you lease it up and the bank says it's worth 100 grand. We'll give you $75,000 loan. Now you give everybody their money back and you made an extra 10 grand that you can just disperse, and the house is cash flowing. So that's we're doing that except with much bigger assets. And that's what I learned from Tim Brott's, that model, because when you hit that model and you pay a high pref, we pay a 10% pref. As soon as the money goes into our account, we're starting to pay 10%. We're also paying another 10% when we refinance. So our investors are usually getting a 15% cash on cash return over 18 months. Then they're getting cash flow in perpetuity. We're not cutting their equity down, and they're getting a piece of the pie whenever we sell it. And so, our IRRs are hitting mid 30s typically. And so it's a great return, and we don't have to give away 70, 80% of the deal. So a traditional syndication where you're paying market rate, you're really not getting a great deal, but it's a simple property and a simple project, you're having to give away a massive amount of equity. Our deal's a lot more labor intensive, harder to do, but we only have to give away 20 to 30% of the equity, and we're able to keep the rest and be adequately rewarded for the amount of work that we're doing and scale quickly. So that's the model in a nutshell. And it beats traditional syndication in every avenue, because in the same 5 to 7 year time frame, our investors can be in 3 or 4 deals with us versus just one. And now they're getting passive cash flow from 4 deals, building equity in 4 deals. They made 15%. They got their money back in 18 to 24 months. Like, it's pretty easy to raise capital, but it's hard to find deals that fit that model. I will admit it is very difficult to find deals that fit that model. But that's the Bratz kind of model, or the Burr model. And yeah, but we did the 17, we had the 12 unit first, which I did under Michael Blank, which is typical syndication. And then did an 18 unit, a 63 unit, a 43 unit, 2 trailer parks. And then we got a 208 unit out in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So right now our portfolio is a little over 400 units, and we've got another 630 under contract. Although that's a secret, because I'm doing a Facebook, like, my journey to 1,000 units, and we really already have the 600 under contract. So if we could just close them, we'll hit our goal. And so by the time the end of the year rolls around, I should be breaking 1,000 doors is our plan.
That's beautiful. That's a good, well-rounded goal, to have 1,000 doors. I mean, that's good. So talking about the Burr strategy currently and passive investors that you have in the deals, like, can you talk about the requirements that, again, for the people maybe who are watching and thinking like, I would love to invest, like, what will be the requirements, by the SEC or just, by the strategy itself for them to invest in those type of deals?
Well, you have to be cool. I got to like you first and foremost.
That's the most important thing.
Most important thing, yes. But yeah, no, we don't do 506C typically. So we can do sophisticated and accredited. So accredited, is $1 million net worth, making 200 grand or 300 grand jointly. But the 506B, you can take sophisticated investors where they're basically saying, I understand the risks. I know what I'm doing. Even though I'm not a multimillionaire, I still want to invest. And so we have to have the relationship with them, the pre-existing relationship. And we get that through, people introduce us and we have a few calls. I never pitch people on deals on the first call, typically because our deals are already full. It's like, I'm going to need a little while to get you into something. But yeah, I like that. I really do, because I don't like to, I believe in our investments. I mean, if I don't think it should only be for millionaires. Now we can't take $5,000. I mean, typically we won't take less than 50 grand. We'd like 100 grand, but 50 grand is kind of our minimum. But I don't want to, I wish I had been investing in stuff like this when I was younger. And I don't want to cut that demographic out and say, no, this is only for people with millions of dollars. It's easier, but I like giving people that opportunity, because if we can make you a 15% cash on cash return, get you your money back in 18 months, then continue to pay you monthly with a big upside on the end. And when you smooth all that out, you're making over 30%. Like, that changes people's life. I mean, even a $100,000 investment can really compound over 20 years at those kind of returns. So I like it. And that's, I mean, basically investors, they get on my mailing list first. They follow me on Facebook. They reach out. We have a few calls. I get to know you. I want to make sure it's not, that you understand this stuff and you understand the risks associated with it. And you also like my model, because I'm buying value add. I'm not buying stabilized assets. So yeah, the upside is there, but we also have construction risk. We also have vacancy risk. We do buy things that only cash flow from day one, but I just like to invest with people that align with my goals and they see the power of what we're doing and they agree with it, you know, and not everybody does.
Got it. Got it. So, okay. So do you currently accept any foreign capital as well, or it's all US based investors currently?
Yeah. So Alair is a Canadian company and I have a lot of contacts through them. And so we are working now with some Canadian folks. And you get past their accent, they're really not bad. But so yeah, we do have some experience with, at least with Canada, and also we're looking at Mexico. We've got a guy who's got a lot of investors out in Mexico that want to do some stuff with us. And so I can't say I'm extremely versed in it, but at least in North America, we're open to it. And if the guy is a player or girl, then we'll figure out the legal ramifications around that. I think it doesn't super matter, other than they may not get as much of the tax benefits from the sale, like and the depreciation. It's kind of like investing through your IRA, which you can invest through your IRA in this stuff, and you don't get as much of the depreciation benefit, but you still get a lot of benefit, especially because you're in your IRA.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So the question is, again, in the times like these, you have, I don't know, the number, let's say, the number of investors who are investing in your deals currently, and you're probably building your network and, upcoming like relationships for upcoming deals, the people are going to invest in those future deals as well. So I'm sure you have enough people coming in, but when it comes to building relationships and reaching more people, let's say even in the States or Canada or Mexico, like what marketing strategies do you guys apply for the business just to expand your reach and more to make sure that more people know about the business and what you're doing currently?
Well, would you like me to kind of speak to somebody that's trying to get their first deal or two done, or more so like experience?
It's just exactly like what you're currently using, like from when it comes to the marketing point, like how do you market yourself as a business to make sure that you attract attention?
Okay. So yeah, putting out content I think is important. I think you have to establish that you're not a flash in the pan. Plenty of people can have an idea and I'm going to close apartment deals and I'm going to be this big shot investor. And I think most human beings' reaction to that is, okay, we'll see, and if they see and you have that staying power where you're consistently closing deals, you're consistently posting content, you're consistently bringing value to your investors and to other people in your field, and establishing yourself as a credible expert, that you know what you're talking about, that's where you can start coupling that with the person that knows the investor, where you're creating like, I'm an expert, but this person doesn't trust me because they don't really know me. And then when you're coupling that with someone that does know them, maybe it's another investor, maybe it's a friend of a friend, that's where the magic can happen, where you get on the call with the person that they know and the expert, and boom, they feel comfortable because they know their friend, and they feel comfortable because you know what you're talking about and you're competent. So I think that has been really effective, is reaching out to your investor base and saying, who do you know that would want to do something like this? And if they trust you and you're doing a good job for them, they're going to make that connection. I think that we've got a lot of money just by talking about what we do. Every time I post a deal that we've closed or put under contract, almost every time now that I've been doing this for 2 years, I get people reaching out to me that want to invest with me. That's cool. That took a long time to happen, but the staying power, consistency. Yeah. Like I posted a video this morning about the Fed printing money and is this correlating with 2008? And, I don't know who's watching it or what, but it's just one more piece of credibility that I'm trying to put out there and build my brand. On the converse, if you're starting out, I think that it's important to do that, but don't think that that's going to raise you money. I think people think that they can just put stuff on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and they're going to get investors. You're not. That comes later. I think initially you've got to be knocking on the doors, calling people and meeting with them, shaking hands, friends and family, personal connections. That's how you, for most people, start. And then it builds and grows from there.
Oh, I definitely agree with you on that one, because like if there is no business, if you have zero deals on on the management, I mean, just knocking on doors and building the connections is the right thing to do. Maybe buying a course or two, that's always the right thing to do. And once you scale the business, once you have something going on in a business, then it's the right time to market yourself and your business. Because I'm a big believer that in this day and age, I mean, the attention is the new currency. So if you can hone that with the right message that you put out on multiple platforms, it's the key. That's how, look at the, like Amazon, like the biggest companies in the world that run on like promoting, marketing, and like the internet companies are the biggest companies. Before it used to be the railroads, the factories, and now it's the internet companies who run the world. So that says something, about marketing and promoting yourself as a business. So what do you think you're going to?
Absolutely, because there's going to be a demographic, a swath of your listeners that really connect with you. And they're like, I don't even, they trust you. They feel like they know you, even though they don't maybe personally know you. And if you continue to build that trust and bring that value and be a part of their life, when they are ready to invest, or they know someone that's ready to invest, they may say, you know what, I'm going to call Martinez and say, hey, what should I do? Who would you recommend I invest with? Or do you have any deals that are going on? And that kind of thing happens over time. Everybody wants to make money today. They're not thinking about, I mean, you've done 70, this is what, episode 71?
Yeah.
That's a lot of work. That's 71 podcasts that you put out there and establish yourself as an expert. 71 weeks or 71 months.
Well,
I don't know how often.
Sorry for just cutting you up for a second, but it doesn't feel like a work when you enjoy what you do, So.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
But it is effort, and people respect that.
Oh, that's awesome. So there's more going on behind the scenes, than just a project that with beating alpha. So it's just, I think everybody should do this, because first of all, the time is available. There are great people in the marketplace, just like, Jennings, who are willing to put in the time and effort to schedule a podcast and to, so you can have them on for, 45 minutes and you can pick their brain, you can talk business, you can find out what these people are doing. I mean, it's just like the reasons why people should have a podcast, at least. I mean, there's thousands of them, like your network is your net worth. And that's the one good reason why people should have it. So it's just a fun thing to do, and I really appreciate the time. But the thing that I wanted to ask you before we're going to go is, again, 1,000 units. That sounds like a very solid goal that you have set for yourself and for your business. The question is that I want to find out is, what is the end goal for Jennings? Like, where are you looking to go, and what is the destination?
The destination is not that important, really. You want to have those milestones and you want to have those goals. I know I spoke about know where you're going, and I do. But I think that building the life that you want and the lifestyle that you want, the experience that you want, it is about enjoying that process and enjoying that journey. And I don't mean to be cliche, and I did not believe that for a long time until I started really going on a path of where I wanted to go. And realizing, like, when I hit 1,000 doors, I'll already have my next milestone in my mind. I'll already know where I'm going next, and it really won't even be that. I mean, it'll be cool. It'll be like, hey, I'll enjoy that when it happens. I definitely will. I'll celebrate that. What's next? And that's where I think you can get trapped by that, where you're never satisfied and you're not content. And in a way that's good, but in a way you don't always want to be looking so far down the road. It's like, enjoy today. Enjoy the work that you're doing today. Enjoy the progress and the process that you're making towards that goal every day, because that's what life is. I mean, life is so daily. It is not just these milestones. So that's kind of my esoteric answer. But I would say I'm going to keep going with the value add stuff. I enjoy it for now. I don't know if my portfolio may change, or we may start going more after the institutional money and shifting our focus that way, because it is very intensive raising money, $50,000, $100,000 at a time. And I may also transition into more doing value add businesses, scaling businesses more on the operational side, and having the real estate as a piece of what I do. I don't want to be defined by something. I was defined as a contractor for a very, very long time. And I think that prevented me from keeping my options open and looking around sooner than I did.
Awesome. I love the goal setting. I love what you said about, being in a moment. I'm exactly on the same page with you. I think people should be in a moment, but live in the future at the same time, because, we miss a lot of stuff as a business owners. We just run and run and run. And we, the time is flying, you're building the business, but sometimes you lose the enjoyment. It's like, why did I started this? You lose this piece. So that's a great advice. So one last question that I wanted to ask you, again, for the people who are sitting at home and they're watching at you being successful at what you do, building the business, going to hit the goal of 1,000 doors. I think a lot of people will get inspired by that. And I think time is now available because of the COVID. Everybody's at home. So I would recommend for them to put the phone down and grab a few books that they can read. So maybe you can recommend top 3 books that you read before or reading currently that people can go and grab.
Yeah. So right now I'm reading, Slight Edge. I don't know if you can read that. The Slight Edge. Great book. Just finished it for the second time. And I like that book because it breaks it down into the sum of your life is the decisions that you make every day, like the little decisions, like, you have a cup of coffee. Do you have like the coffee make creamer in there, or do you just have milk, or do you have just black? Like those are just like slight edge decisions. Am I going to eat a salad, or am I going to eat a double cheeseburger? Am I going to write down 5 people that I know that might be involved in real estate or interested in investing in real estate and call them? Or am I not going to do that? It's like things that are not that hard to do, but they're easier not to do. And that over time will generate massive results or lack of results, where time will either promote you or time will expose you. So everyone's on this slight edge curve, either going down or going up. And when you get towards the trajectory, it can skyrocket. I mean, where those little decisions are building up to, where we are now, where when we're posting stuff on social media, we're actually getting traction. We're getting results from it, where the chains are falling away with the banks and the investors, and we're able to raise a few $1 million, in a few weeks. Whereas that was a monumental, impossible task almost a year or 2 ago. But that has to start today. And what can I do today to affect that goal happening in 2 years? I'm also reading this book, Die with Zero. Mark Evans, who runs the DM family, he recommended everybody in the DM family read this before our event. And it's awesome, where it's like not focusing so much on saving every dollar and having all this money for when you retire, but finding the balance between spending the money on the experiences and the memories, and how those experiences and memories can pay interest and dividends just like a regular investment can for the rest of your life. And really, at the end, that's all we have is our memories, our cherished relationships with people, and spending money and time on experiences versus just amassing wealth. And then I'm also reading The Wealth Elite, which is basically a book about the study of ultra high net worth individuals, not millionaires like Millionaire Next Door. This is like 10 million to 30 million, and then 30 million up, and how they think, like how they perceive risk, the career paths they've chosen, the friendships they have, how they spend their money, how they save, how they invest. And just, I want to be in that group. And so I figure, hey, if I can find a window into learning, I can maybe collapse sometime there. So this is kind of more like a textbook, but It is fairly interesting.
That's awesome. I mean, I'm just looking at the books, like I never seen them myself. So I think people would really appreciate you sharing the books. And, you know, that's very interesting because most of the time people do share, you know, it's the Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Think and Grow Rich. But I like what you're reading currently. So I'm going to take a note and grab those as well. So it's been a really fun time, Jennings. I really appreciate the time. And the effort, you know, to show up and sprinkle some knowledge and give us some golden nuggets that people can take away and implement in their existing business, or maybe some ideas that it can go and apply and start a business. Because I do believe that real estate is definitely a great vehicle to be in. Again, there's many opportunities right now or every moment, you know, if you just keep your eyes open. But I love what you said about investing and you know, your experience in it. So, you know, all the best of luck with going to the 1,000 doors. I'm sure you're going to reach it
All
this
right,
year with
man,
no
I
problem.
lost you there. There you go. You're back. Okay.
Yeah. So as I said, you know, best of luck with the 1,000 doors goal. I'm sure you're going to reach it with no problem. And yeah, you know, it's been a fun time talking with you. So guys, if you enjoyed the show, I'm not gonna ask you to do anything besides just share it with a friend. Again, because there's a lot of people currently looking for ways to build a business, just some opportunity that they can grab on, go and implement and start doing something, right? So just pass it on to the friend that you think this content would be valuable. And again, guys, as always, I'm gonna see you on the next episode. And Jennings, again, thanks again for being on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Martinez. I really enjoyed it.